I met this handsome dude in a club. He was looking so cute. His hair was so beautiful and his smiles were breathtaking. When I saw him coming towards me, I thought it was all in a fairy tale. But he bent over my shoulders and greeted softly and also offered to pay for my drinks. Of course, I obliged without giving it a second thought. He also bought one bottle for himself and offered one extra to me. After the drinks, we hit the dance floor and later went home together. It was love at first sight, or so I thought. We made out for about 2 months, having sex consecutively before I became really sick. The severity of the illness affected my disposition and created like a communication gap between the guy and myself. And so our friendship cracked. However, I was also not very sure if I really wanted to build a serious relationship with the guy at that time or not. Basically, because I have a male bestie at work who is really very close with me, even though we are not having sex. But we have hopes. My bestie traveled for an official assignment and had stayed for 2 weeks already before I went for clubbing that day because I was very lonely. But he returned 4 days after I went to the club. And guess what? We had sex and we continued even till now. Since we became besties, this was the first time he traveled for that long. And I guess that distance created a different kind of yearning and desires in our hearts. Because I don't know what it was. We have always been together for many years. So what happened now? What's changed? I believe things kind of flow naturally, between us. I told him about the new guy I met at the club, but I didn't tell the new guy about my bestie. Partly because I didn't think that the relationship I had with the handsome guy I met at the club would last, judging from the club and the alcohol circumstances, in which we met. It's not an ideal scenario for meeting responsible people, husband and wife material. It was not until I was already 4 months gone before I discovered that I was pregnant. I didn't think the club guy was responsible, but I still informed him about the new developments just in case. So that he won't see me with pregnancy and get surprised. That kind of a thing. We kept seeing once in a while, and of course, he assumed he was responsible for the pregnancy. I had no moral justification to say no to him. So he kept supporting me and the pregnancy all the way through. Just the same way my bestie continued to support me and the pregnancy, believing that the pregnancy is his. Something happened one day that I didn't know, created a serious suspicious impact in the heart of my club guy sweetheart. I mistakenly called him my bestie's name, and he complained and argued bitterly, pointing out that I had called him that name twice before on the phone and he just overlooked it. I just don't know why I had no courage to tell my handsome guy about my bestie. Maybe because I really don't want him to conclude that I'm a bad club girl. I don't live permanently with any of them. So it was easy for them to conclude that any strange extra baby items they saw were probably bought by me. And honestly speaking, my bestie didn't know that the handsome guy was still coming around. Meanwhile, I have already had a baby girl 7 years ago that I kept with my mother and relocated to another state to chase my dreams. Now, my due delivery date is fast approaching and I am in a big dilemma. That moment of truth that I feared so much is fast approaching. How am I going to handle these two men and the baby without hurting any of them? Please